I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. We're just 2 hours away from what many of us hope will be Biden's last State of the Union address. And we've got a huge show for you tonight. Senator Josh Hawley is here, Larry Kudlow in the House, Vivek Ramaswamy, and so many more. But first, spinning themselves dizzy. That is the focus of tonight's angle. Now, truth be told, the State of the Union, the speeches, they're rarely memorable. And there's no real evidence that they help turn things around for flailing presidencies. But nevertheless, Biden's advisors are doing their best to propose ideas.
I think the top line should be the Inflation Reduction Act reduced inflation. Good policy makes good politics, right? And he has good policy.
Jobs, wages, everything going in the right direction economically.
The stock market is booming. Each blockbuster job report after blockbuster job report.
I don't think you guys need me. I was just listening to the commentary. I don't think you guys need me this morning.
Well, of course, KJP is right. Although I might add that they do her job better than she does her job. And they don't even need to read any binder notes.
You look at sort of him having the most diverse government we've ever had. I think he has a good story to tell. They've just got to do a really good job of telling.
Can he tell it? Yeah, that's the question.
Regardless of what happens in the State of the Union, what they got to do tonight is win the after. They got to win the spin.
Got to win the spin. As if there's any doubt that Biden will win the spin in our media landscape that we have now. Of course he's going to, because our dishonest media includes anchors, reporters, and analysts who refused to cover the border crisis for years till they had to, and they downplayed the risks of inflation, crime, and the damage that the radical trans movement is doing to our kids. So the pre-speech buildup is the best, in my view, comedy going. Dave Chappelle should really take notes.
Oh, I think you'll see a lot of energy from the president. Again, I'll remind you, John, last year, in real time, he schooled the Republicans who were talking about Medicare and Social Security and made sure they committed to taking that off the table. That's the kind of energy you saw last year. That's the kind of energy I see every day when I'm working with the president.
Prediction. In a few hours, the media will be lavishing praise on Biden. And if you can't watch the speech, you'll hear people saying that it was amazing how Biden knocked it out of the park, how he put to rest the doubts about his stamina. He nailed it. He was passionate. He did what he needed to do. It'll be right up there, the speech at the end of all this, with JFK's inaugural address and the Gettysburg Address. But we had a taste of this just a few days ago.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second.
Okay, this is delusional, and frankly, it's sad. Now, we're supposed to believe, after seeing Biden in the last just 3-year span, that he's sharper than he was 37 years ago at the Bork confirmation hearings? All right, you be the judge.
Part of the controversy over the Constitution has been over the basic question that is certain to animate the debate that may commence in this committee. And that is the debate between the tensions between the rights of an individual and the will of the majority.
I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking.
Okay. Of course, voters know that this spin, Biden's at the top of his game, is just all lies. A new Pew Research poll shows that the people are seeing right through it.
Where's the biggest area of concern for Biden in these numbers? It's probably on questions like, is he mentally sharp? 29% say that describes Joe Biden. Is he energetic? 24% say that describes Biden. And that underscores the challenge and potentially the opportunity that Joe Biden has with this speech tonight.
The opportunity to go from 26 to 28. Now, I'm actually shocked that NBC discussed Biden's numbers today because it cuts against their own pro-Biden narrative. But numbers are numbers, and when they're put in historical perspective, they're really bad for Biden. George W. Bush won in 2004 with a 54% approval. Obama was a bit under 50%, and he beat Romney, of course, in 2012. Trump was at 46% approval in 2020, and, of course, he lost to Biden. But now Biden, He's now sitting at just 37% approval. And just when you think that couldn't get worse historically for Biden, it does.
If you want to push the clock back a little bit further, the two relatively recent incumbents to be at the level Biden is now or lower in their reelection year, George H.W. Bush, 1992, Jimmy Carter, 1980, they were both defeated for reelection. So that's the historical challenge that Biden faces.
Well, the real challenge that Biden faces is that the results of his policies are deeply unpopular and deeply damaging to the country. Open borders, lower wages, more trans stuff, more war, China emboldened. So any president, even a president at the top of his game and communicating, would have a really hard time selling that as something good for America. And for that reason, his communications team, his comms team, which essentially runs the White House, reverts to endless posturing or gaslighting and spin from their pals. They even tried bringing in fake presidents to help the real president.
I never spoke to so many presidents all at one time. Some of you might know what a big speech like I have to do is coming up State of the Union. Any advice you have for me in delivering my speech?
Well, sir, in my capacity as president, all I had to deal with was a meteor.
We just had invaders from outer space coming in.
I do feel I should just point out one thing. There's no crying in politics.
Okay, I just want to stop for a moment. I'm going off teleprompter. There are really serious things happening around the world. Someone had an idea to spend a couple of hours, which is probably what that took with Biden especially, to bring in actors to kind of do a big roll-up to the State of the Union. 2 hours at least. That's their priority. But, I mean, I got to be fair. It's better than getting his economic ideas from, let's say, Sesame Street.
He pointed out his cookies are getting smaller, paying the same price. I was stunned when I found out that's what actually happened.
And what did Ernie and Bert say? Well, because Biden refused to change any of his policies, either on the border or runaway spending or his anti-oil and gas agenda, faking it is all they have. Trump's going to cancel elections forever if he wins. America will have no allies in the world. And my personal favorite, Trump will imprison his political enemies. Of course, that's precisely what they're trying to do. Oh, sorry. The people who want to ban gas cars and gas stoves, they're all about freedom.
Look, you're going to hear the president address how our democracy is under attack, how our freedoms are certainly under attack. He's going to speak to what we've been seeing across the country as it relates to women's health care.
Health care, killing babies. All right, as I've said before, pot, porn, abortion, transgenderism, open borders, maybe throw in Ukraine. That pretty much sums up the agenda of today's Democratic Party. But one problem. None of that helps people pay their grocery bills or fill up their gas tanks. Practical issues that are making life harder, not easier, for the millions of Americans who probably aren't watching tonight because they're too busy working a second job or trying to figure out, racking their brains, how they're going to cover rent and their car payments this month. Biden's spin, his friend's spin, not going to help them. Frankly, it insults them. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.